right.
That's all right.
Yeah, yeah. Okay,
With that, let's begin.
let's begin, yes. I want to thank you very much for joining us today. A little context. The legislature and the governor have worked hard to make California a climate change leader. California has divested all its investments in coal. We've prohibited the state from purchasing electricity generated by coal-fired plants in other states. After Paris, the world looks to us for strong, positive initiatives to reduce greenhouse gases and air pollution. So I'm here today, and thank you all for being here with me, to announce legislation in response to the critical issues raised by a proposal to export coal through West Oakland in the East Bay. Like many in our community, I was shocked when I learned that the development project on the former Oakland Army base plans to export millions of tons of coal to China and other Pacific Rim countries. And they want to spend state money to do it. Specifically from state bond money released by the California Transportation Commission for a grant to the city of Oakland that did not include a mention of coal, and a grant, a state bond that is intended to help goods movement and clean the air. So the idea to suddenly use this for a coal export depot is bad for the state of California. It's bad for the East Bay, it's bad for the city of Oakland, and it is devastating for the community of West Oakland, which is a community already suffering from the effects of pollution in the area. And we'll be hearing more about that in a minute. So as the state senator that represents the people of the East Bay, I cannot sit by and let this happen. The problem is so profound that I think it requires a multi-bill response. So I am introducing 4 bills today. Now, unfortunately, the California State Legislature has limited discretion because of the specific agreement the city of Oakland has signed with a developer. Ultimately, it's the city that can and must act to prevent coal from being shipped out of the community. However, until the city does take action, I think it's very important for the legislature to weigh in, both to frame the issues facing Oakland and to ensure that this dilemma will never face another community in California or other people in California. So, just to be clear, if the Oakland project is completed, you will have from 4 to 6 coal trains going from Utah through California, big cities, California, Vallejo, all the cities I represent, down to the Port of Oakland. And what we're talking about here is trains of typically 100 cars and typically uncovered, because there turn out to be technical problems that nobody has solved yet around covering coal cars. And every single day, these cars will run through our communities spewing toxic dust. That is not acceptable. So the bill package that I'm introducing will have 4 elements. 2 of them are very specific to Oakland. 2 of them are recognizing that it isn't only Oakland, this could be a statewide issue. SB 1277 will declare that the transportation of coal through West Oakland would present a clear and present danger to the health and safety of Oakland residents and the workers in the facility. The bill prohibits the shipment of coal through any Oakland port facility that has been paid for in part with public funds. SB 1278 requires an EIR from any public agency that has the authority to fund or approve any portion of a project that would ship coal through Oakland. SB 1279 would prohibit the use of public funds to operate any port that exports coal from California. And we specify any port that is near a disadvantaged community. Well, guess what? They all are. It's no accident. McMansions don't go in next to ports. And SB 1280, the last of the bills, will require port facilities that ship bulk commodities and receive state money to either prohibit coal shipments or to fully mitigate the greenhouse gas emissions associated with burning that coal, whether it be in China or any place else on the globe. Because guess what? We share the air. And we are united as a planet since Paris, where California played a leading role, to say that we don't want our temperature to go up more than 2 degrees Celsius, because we know that that's the tipping point after which it can't be reversed. So we're not morally, ethically, or economically, this is something that cannot happen in our city. So again, I want to be clear, the bills are prospective. The city of Oakland needs to act to prohibit the shipment of coal in this project from its depot. There is a provision in the contract that was signed that allows the city to consider the health and safety of its workers, and I hope and expect that the city will use that authority and prohibit coal. California, as I said, has worked hard to be a strong positive leader in combating climate change. I hope that these bills will set the frame so that we can continue to play that role. And with me today are some of the community members that will be impacted by this proposal. And I'm not sure if the first speaker is, which of you there are. You thank you so much.
Thank you, Senator. Good morning. My name is Derrick Muhammad. I represent the International Longshore and Warehouse Union Local 10 as their Secretary-Treasurer. I first want to thank Senator Hancock for allowing us to speak to you this morning. I want to be very clear about something. We support the building of a marine terminal at the old Oakland Army Base. However, we cannot support a project at the expense of the environment, at the expense of the health and safety of our workforce, and at the expense of that marginalized community that sits adjacent to the Port of Oakland. My hope is that the City of Oakland invest its time, resources in developing jobs that won't be a detriment to the community, but a benefit to the community. And so we are here to pledge our full support for the Senator's legislation. We believe that it would send a clear message to other cities that they would be well advised to carefully consider the impacts of coal and other unclean commodities. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you for being here and for inviting me to speak today. My name is Nate Henderson, and I am a young advocate in Oakland, a community I call home, and I am very sad to know that the city of Oakland plans to export coal from Utah and export it to a place that is already drastically affected by coal and climate change. I am an environmental advocate for the younger generations, and I am here to speak to you today about the danger of continuing to damage our environment. California is a leader in climate change, and I am proud to live in a state that is helping to prevent environmental disasters by implementing initiatives and that could change the world that I hope to live in. But when communities like West and East Oakland are being forgotten for many years and are affected by pollution every day, something needs to change. From diesel trucks and pollutants from the Port of Oakland to the planes landing at the airport, when do Black lives really matter? If we are the first ones to experience or be affected by pollution time after time. The last thing that we need right now is a new coal export facility that would endanger our health and our dreams to live in a clean community. I want to thank Senator Hancock for her leadership in this situation and for introducing legislation that will prevent a situation like this from happening again. I strongly oppose coal from coming into Oakland, and I hope the city takes in consideration my health and the health of the West Oakland families. Thank you again for having me here today. Our goal should be no more coal.
Good morning, everyone. Excuse me. My name is Miss Margaret Gordon. I am the co-director and the founder of the West Oakland Environmental Indicators Project. I'm also a member of the No on Coal campaign. I have been engaged around the Army base for over 20 years. And for since April of last year, the No on Coal has assumed my life. If people don't know, 1 out of 5 children who live in the zip codes of 94607, 94608, and 12 end up into the emergency hospital. Those are children. That's not talking about the offset of COPD that's also in our communities, the community of West Oakland. I am a resident of West Oakland. I live less than 1 mile from the Port of Oakland. I'm also a former port commissioner who fought for 5 years to bring policy for emission reduction planning at the Port of Oakland, and they have been successful. Why all of a sudden now, because of this contract that's been signed for the use of developing a new port in Oakland, because people need to understand there are going to be 2 ports in the city of Oakland. Coal was never a commodity that has been included in any applications from the city of Oakland about this fossil fuel. My wish is that I don't need, at this stage of my life, that Flint, Michigan is come to West Oakland. Thank you very much.
So, if there are any questions, I'm happy to try to answer them, or some of these individuals can. Otherwise, we hope you'll stay tuned, and seriously, this is just the beginning. We're not going to let this happen in our community.
What do you think about the City Council of Oakland that want to pay for an investigation by the Environmental Sciences Associates?
Well, I think they pulled that proposal back. That seems like a good idea to me. I think that we have a lot of research, and that the city could make a finding of health and safety danger.
Senator, Reverend Chambers here. Since the developer is out of compliance to go forward with the coal terminal with state funding, does that bother that grant or future grants for this development?
Well, I think there's a great deal of concern at the state level. One of the issues is that we get into contract law here. The city of Oakland signed apparently an extremely open-ended agreement. Who knew or thought that a proposal to ship coal out of Utah, coal that would probably stay in the ground if this project does not happen, would come up to be an alternative. I think the city does have the clause that says health and safety is a reason to relook at the contract, and I think they're doing that, and I think it's very good that they are, necessary that they are, really. But I agree, we're all in favor of a bulk depot moving forward as originally planned and originally presented to the state. The California Transportation Commission isn't happy about this either, right? Coal was never mentioned to them. And in fact, I think it's in violation of the bond because it will not clean the air. But it's a contract was signed here, so what actually is required of whom? So that's why the ball is in the city's court on this one, but we want to do everything we can to help them and back them up and make sure they come to the right decision.
Thank you for your leadership.
Yeah.
Any more questions from the media?
Okay. Well, thank you very much for being here, and as I said, to be continued. Right. Thank you.